This is Brad Warr, Chief Instructor with Roco Rescue. We're here at the Roco Training Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And today we're going to take a look at the SKED stretcher and an alternative lashing method to set a vertical bridle to go into a confined space. So with this bridle, we call this the confined space bridle. If you look at it, we are set up for the bottom half of this bridle in the traditional vertical bridle. We come all the way to the bottom through the handles, inside out through the grommets. We capture the feet with the square knot at the top and finish it with the square knot here. But if you take a closer look, you'll see that when we started this bridle, we skipped the top two grommets that are right above the head. And what we did was we brought those two tandem butterfly knots and we set them right on the SKED logo, which are right between those two grommets that we traditionally would come through to start our lashing. What this allows us to do is if I'm working in a tight space, it allows this bridle to create its own pivot point or fulcrum point, which allows for more safety and a smoother transition from horizontal to vertical. So let's take a look at how that looks, right? So when I come in here, because this is a vertical SKED and a flexible litter, if I'm on the outside and I lift from the end, this starts to wrap around and can start to put pressure on the patient's head. So we always looked for an alternative method of how to get away from that exposure on our patient. And what we came up with eliminates that completely and gives us a lot more flexibility. So I have skipped those two grommets. I set my two tandem butterflies on the SKED logo right between those two grommets. Now I need to make sure that I'm careful because this exposure to the patient's face is something I need to be aware of. So I really need to take a little extra caution to make sure I'm not going to bang something into a patient's face. But I'm going to come across the top. I'm going to take my main line and my safety line and I'm going to attach. Before I do that, I've got the drag handle up here. The drag handle is not something we want to remove. It allows us a lot of ease in moving a patient along a deck, but it also becomes the top of the basket, as you'll see when we talk about horizontal SKED in a separate video. It allows me to curl that up and become a top rail. But I'm just going to take this and I'm going to store this out of the way, tuck it under the board so that it's not putting any pressure on my patient. It gives me a much cleaner profile here at the top. So now I'm going to take my main line and my safety line and I'm going to attach it with an auto-locking carabiner on my belay, a standard or auto-locking carabiner on my main line, and I'm going to make that attachment. And we're going to confirm that those are locked. And now you can see as I tension up and I call for my team topside to tension this system, it's going to allow this bridle to pivot and swing over the top. So now when they begin my haul, my pivot point is here at the shoulders instead of here at the top. This allows this to lift, and as it comes up, it's going to transition from horizontal to vertical simply by having this knot transition over the top of the head into the vertical position. This bridle is a lifesaver in tight confined spaces where I still have room for the full length of mobilization of a SKED, but I may not have room to position them in the center for a straight up lift. This eliminates that problem and gives me a really, really tight bridle that I can use in a confined space. That is the confined space bridle on a vertical SKED.